Peace and blessings and shalom to the family. This is your brother, Priest Daniela, Lions of Israel, Maccabees Alliance Council. I want to wish everybody a blessed Sabbath. Can you brothers and sisters hear me? If you can hear me, put 1 in the chat and let me know you could hear me. Because I'm not sure. I don't really always use my microphone. Sometimes I just use the built-in mic on the webcam. All praises, all praises. All right, well, Ashar Shabbat, a blessed Sabbath to everybody. I'm going to wait for a few brothers and sisters to come into the house. We're just going to freestyle a little bit today. I haven't spent a lot of time with you brothers and sisters on the Sabbath, but y'all know that we go in on the Sabbath. Y'all know we go in. So as you come in the house, I want you to hit the like button as always so that more people can see we're live and come in and join into the conversation. And also you brothers and sisters, if you could be so kind as to share this video on social media so other people can come in and get some of this information as well. I'm asking y'all to bear with me for about 2 minutes. Just bear with me for about 2 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and share this on a couple of social media platforms myself. All right, I'm going to turn my camera off just for a moment. Bear with me. I'm still here with y'all. All praises to the Most High. And again, a blessed Sabbath to everybody. I'll be right back, okay? 1 moment, y'all.
Best kept secrets, and that's something that One West had completely correct. And let's get some understanding.
They say it's all a facade, and that there's really no supreme God. They say it's all a coincidence. To me, I believe the ratio is God's fingerprints. It's laid out in the sequence. It's mathematics that creates the matrix. It's designed by intelligence, the disobedient, those evolutionary idiots. I'm talking about the atheists, the Satanists. That's why we keep on making hits. We do this for the most glorious. And don't forget about the kids. Teach about the Torah and who really built the pyramids. Teach about Yahweh and the color of his skin. The brother was darker than Wesley Snipes, but that's a fact that many might not like.
Max said before they killed him, he said that in the future, men are going to come before you, and they are going to tell you that you are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Malcolm said out of his own mouth, I tell you, believe them.
It's deep, believe we the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Do you know how good it feel to know that God real? Recognize when you see that 7th branch hanging. We ain't about campaigning. Some study DNA and endless genealogy. Others use the brown paperback policy. Obviously, for years I knew we was part of prophecy. Fled Madrid, our birthright hid, 400-year bid. Porter riches, Ponce de Leon, shallow graves and ditches. The Spaniards conquest for riches is sickening, disgusting. Let's have an honest discussion without any cussing and talk about the abomination of the nation. We fear every curse situation gon' get worse. The Most High's firstborn, Jeremiah 31 night verse.
Ephraim got brothers in it that look just like Esau, the devil, the white man. Yet many of them are our brothers and sisters. Ephraim is the Puerto Rican, but their original Puerto Rican were black as
dark. It was the Most High that scattered us, shine low to gather us. Born in Bethlehem and raised up in Nazareth, the image of the Father in all righteousness. Heir to the throne, but they made Christ submit. Why is this? The enemy is showing his hate for me right in front of our face, but we both put them faithfully. What a low down and messed up state to be. It's gonna change, but we have to wait patiently. Can't live in peace cause they profile racially. The justice system has no justice in them. Truly in vain is salvation hope for. When Christ take them down, they won't oppress us no more. All hail our King, he's taking his crown back. Jewels that I dropped in the form of a soundtrack. Food for thought, praying that the Savior comes quick. Northern tribes, Southern tribes is really just one stick.
the 12 tribes side is up to date. We had white guys come up to us.
Shalom, shalom to the family. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. And I do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. I say Ashar Shabbat, a blessed Sabbath to Israel, all that observe it. And if you're an Israelite born, you should be observing it. So that should be everyone. And also, I'd like to take this time out to also wish a blessed Day of Atonement for those that are observing it tomorrow. I do know some of you brothers and sisters, depending on what camp you're in, some of you brothers and sisters may have already observed atonement, but there are brothers that are observing it tomorrow. A lot of that stuff is based on how you track and calculate the new moon, which is not the conversation we're having today. But I hope and pray that everybody had a blessed atonement, those that had it and those that are going to be observing it tomorrow. Keep in mind the principle behind this holy day, because unlike Esau, unlike the so-called white man, all of our holidays, which are really holy days, have significance, right? Some holy days, the Most High allows us to celebrate a victory over our enemies, the other nations. And some holidays have a more solemn and spiritual aspect to them, atonement being one, right? But let's not keep the spirit or the holy day of atonement in a spirit of hypocrisy, meaning that you have aught with your brother or your sister, you know that you don't like certain people, but you're going before the Most High on the Day of Atonement to ask the Most High to wipe your slate clean for all the sins that you've done. You're asking the Most High to forgive you, right? But you can't forgive your brother or your sister. That's not the way it works, man. The Most High will not honor that. You're keeping the Day of Atonement in vain. Every time you say the Lord's Prayer, right, you say, forgive us our trespass as we forgive those that trespass against us. That's the way our Lord taught us to pray. That's the way he taught us to pray. So one goes in hand with the other. In order for the Most High to forgive you, you must forgive your brother or your sister and stop holding grudges. That's what we have to do as Israelites. We have to stop holding grudges and show more love to each other, show more mercy and compassion to each other, etc., etc. All right. Once again, just want to make sure. I know I asked you brothers and sisters before, but sometimes I get a little paranoid. Y'all can hear me, right? If y'all can hear me, then put one in the chat. If y'all can hear me, just one more time. I know y'all did it before, but sometimes I don't see the chat moving, so I'm not sure if I'm being heard or not. And if I'm not, then I want to go back in and start the live over again. Am I being heard, brothers and sisters? I'm going to check the chat on my phone. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring it up on my cell phone. Okay. You know, we are, ever since YouTube did away with Hangouts, you know, we're actually using a third-party software in order to live stream. So I guess you guys were saying stuff in the chat, but it doesn't appear. I'm looking at the third-party thing. It doesn't appear. So you brothers and sisters, y'all see I'm have a little drink right here, right? Before we get into anything else, you brothers and sisters, are y'all familiar with this MSM? You know, I got to give y'all the health stuff too, right? I got to give y'all the health stuff too. How many brothers and sisters are familiar with MSM powder, right? MSM powder is really bitter of and by itself, right? So you can mix it with water. I don't mix it with water because it's too bitter. I put it in like a little bit of apple juice or something, or some type of other juice that I drink. MSM powder, just so you brothers and sisters know, is good for like reducing joint pain. It's good for lowering like inflammation. It's also attributed to improving skin health, decreasing allergy symptoms, and speeding recovery after exercise, especially, you know, when you go to the gym and you exercise, they say you break down muscle fibers. That's what you're doing in order for them to be rebuilt and be rebuilt stronger, according to exercise, what they call exercise science, right? When you go to the gym, you break down muscle fiber in order for it to be rebuilt stronger. So MSM powder, one of the attributes that it has is it's good for assisting in muscle recovery after you go to the gym. So I drink it. I drink I take about a scoop, or you can basically take a tablespoonful, drop it in some apple juice, about a cup of apple juice, and I just sip it and drink it. And the apple juice actually masks the bitterness of the MSM powder. So that's what I do. All right. So I just wanted to put you brothers and sisters on to that. So about a week ago, I dropped a real quick video where I showed you brothers and sisters a history book. And I was pleased to see a lot of you brothers and sisters actually try to get the book. That was good. Hopefully you brothers and sisters got it and you got some edification out of it. Yeah, I'm gonna go through a few things today, some more selective reading, some more information for you brothers and sisters that will help you along your way in your studies. All right, I'm gonna go into a few things concerning that momentarily. All right, I'm just trying to wait for a few more brothers and sisters to get into the house. Also, next week we're doing, and this is just our camp, we're doing the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, again, you have some camps that already did tabernacles, and you have some camps that are going to do tabernacles. At this point in our walk as Israelites, the point is to rehearse the righteous acts and keep the commandments. That's the most important thing. Are we trying to come together and have the dates be a little more cohesive? Yes. I know as far as the Maccabees Alliance Council is concerned, we've had some conversations that going forward, we're going to try to sit down along with the Mashallah Yashar as well, and any others that want to do it. We're going to try to sit down and talk about the calendar to a degree and try to come to a cohesive understanding about the high holy days, you know what I'm saying, to see if we can kind of straighten out some of the confusion. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't happen, but at least we can sit down and have a discussion. But what I want you brothers and sisters to know and understand is something very, very important. And I said this to a few people over the years, right? One of the reasons why there's so much contention in the Israelite community when we sit down and we start talking about disagreements with doctrines, one of the reasons why there is so much contention in the Israelite community is because brothers want to sit down and discuss doctrines without first building a relationship or rapport with other Israelites first. You see what I'm saying? You can sit down and you get to know brothers and sisters, and you kind of build a rapport and a relationship with each other, so that way, when you get down into the nuts and bolts of things that you don't agree upon, it doesn't breed contention. But sometimes brothers are so anxious just to be right. You just want to be right, right? So you want to sit down and have a discussion so you can say, I smashed that brother over there. I cut that brother over there. He got cut. That's not always the spirit, brothers and sisters. It's not. Like sometimes a lot of that with brothers, I'm going to say brothers mainly, a lot of that is pride. A lot of the reasons why a lot of times you feel like you want to just cut somebody all the time is because you're proud. You got pride. You see what I'm saying? The Lord told Jeremiah in Jeremiah, the 1st chapter, the Most High said, seeing I have set thee this day over the nations to root out, tear down, and destroy, but also to build. One goes hand in hand with the other. A lot of times, a lot of brothers have the spirit of wanting to root out and tear down and conquer and then laugh and mock, but there's no rebuilding that's going on. And one of the reasons why I don't participate in a lot of these discussions and debates that brothers be having, I'm talking about within the Israelite community, is because there's that spirit of pride where brothers just want to be right. And you just want to tear somebody down, and then you want to go to social media and be like, I cut them, I cut that man, I cut that woman, whatever like that. And that's your spirit. That's not right. You got to first build a spirit of love, of brotherhood, of camaraderie with brothers and sisters. Then you can sit down at the table and have discussions, because maybe brothers and sisters really in the spirit of the Most High Christ, they really just don't understand. because you have a lot of Israelites that have become Israelites by watching YouTube videos and have never had a formal education in this Israelite movement. They didn't have a formal education. They didn't have elders over them. They never attended a school. None. They just kind of learned on the fly. And so sometimes they make mistakes with things. There's some things that they may not be aware of. And it's our job to build brothers and sisters like that up in the spirit of love. And so getting back to the whole calendar thing, as I was saying, you have some camps that already kept atonement. They already kept tabernacles, and you have some camps that's going to keep it. And so we've been discussing behind the scenes. Nothing is set in stone, obviously, but we've been discussing behind the scenes, sitting down and having conversations about how we all came to our understanding and see if we can come to a more cohesive understanding for the people. That's the goal. Nevertheless, at this point, and some people may not agree with me on this, nevertheless, at this point, I'm happy to see brothers and sisters keeping the commandments. I'm happy to see that. Does everybody understand? You know, y'all see me rocking the tribe of Levi today. I ain't Levi, but I'm rocking the tribe of Levi today. I love all my brothers and sisters. This is a side note, you know what I'm saying? I love all the brothers and sisters, so I rock out for everybody. I was going to do Ephraim, but maybe that's next live stream. I don't know. I'm everything. I'm all Israel. That's what it is. I don't camp bang. I don't tribe bang. None of that stuff, man. I love my people. And we as Israelites, we got to come together. Y'all don't see what a big job we have? Y'all see the buffoonery and coonery that we saw all week? The Botham John family, the John family, is a microcosm of the macrocosm of Christianity. That's what it is. Christianity makes you docile like that. Let me take that back because that's a lie. Black Christianity, the version of Christianity that so-called black people follow, that makes you docile. That's what it does. Because the Christianity the white man follows, he drops bombs on people. He takes countries. He sheds bloods. He forces his democracy down your throat and his white Jesus. That's the Christianity he follows. He will put you in jail as a Christian for life. He will give you the death penalty as a Christian. That's what the white man's Christianity teaches. But black people's Christianity, that doesn't teach that. You see what I'm saying? So we have a tremendous job to do. I know that we feel like we're making progress because we see the truth spreading all over the world. Every day we see Israelites, you know, coming into this, waking up to our nationality. Every day we're seeing camps popping up all over the place. But it's just a sprinkling, brothers and sisters, compared to white man's Christianity that has been established since slavery, since that thing was pushed and forced down our throat for hundreds of years. We're trying to undo hundreds of years of conditioning of our people. And every time that we think we're making progress, we see that we still got a hell of a long way to go. Because that was 100% embarrassing to see that. 100% embarrassing, yet it was not surprising. Because as I mentioned in my video earlier this week, we saw the same thing happen when during the time, the case of Dylan Roof. The families over there, they also said that they forgive. Two totally separate, unrelated cases, but one thing is the same. They were Christians, black Christians, who forgave. They're murderers. But the white man's Christianity doesn't teach that. That goes to show you, let me tell you what that goes to show you, right? Because I saw some nonsense this week from who else but the fake woke conscious community. I saw some nonsense from them this week trying to say the Bible makes you docile. If the Bible makes you docile, then why is the white man going around the world killing, raping, robbing, and murdering everybody in the name of Christianity? That shows you that's a stupid behind statement to make. It's just dumb. But Negroes like to say dumb stuff and repeat dumb stuff. Christianity doesn't make you docile. The version of Christianity that was pushed on our people makes you docile. But when you go by this Bible word for word, line for line, it doesn't make you docile, it makes you militant. And the so-called white man, when he sees you in that mentality, he fears you. The so-called white man fears this movement. That's why they have a Southern poverty list where they start categorizing groups. Now, people say, well, you're just listed as a hate group. But the point is that we have their attention. They're paying attention to the organization and proliferation of this truth. They ain't paying attention to what y'all doing over there because you're not doing nothing. And the majority of these so-called conscious Negroes really just want to fit in. The white man give you a check, man, you're going to forgive him for everything he did to your damn ancestors. We don't have that spirit, man. The world and the earth was created for our sakes, according to the Bible, and we want it. And we ain't going to accept nothing less. All praise to the Most High and His only begotten Son. Shout out to Cedar Jacob. Nugget, I see you. As a matter of Black TV. Right. As a matter of Black TV said, white Christianity is all about bloodshed. That's a fact. That's a fact. So the next time you see the fake conscious community talking about the Bible makes you docile, right? Just drop that in the just drop that in the chat. If the Bible makes you docile, the white man has been killing in the name of Christianity for hundreds of years. So explain that. Explain that. That's why they had to give us what was known as the slave Bible. They had to take out the Old Testament. They had to take out much of the Gospels and even parts of the epistles. They had to take it out and give you a watered down Bible, because when they gave you the whole thing, you had guys like Gabriel Prosser, Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Harriet Tubman, etc. And you have the Israelites. And you have the Israelites. The Most High said He would send forth the prophets last. That's us, the Israelites, the Israelite movement. And as we begin to stand up on our feet, a great and exceeding army, and the nations see it, they're fearful. That's why they have this fake propaganda that they're putting in these movies trying to discredit us. That's why they're sending people like the so-called Christian apologetics against this movement. Everybody's talking about, have you noticed? The fake woke conscious community is talking about the Israelites, right? The Christians, the white ones, apologists are talking about the Israelites. The Black Christians like T.D. Jakes, they had a conference where they were talking about the Israelites. Everybody's talking about the Israelites. Yet the Bible is fake, right? Come on, man. It's not hard to see what's going on. The Most High is moving this movement on the earth, but we have a long way to go still. What we saw this week that took place in that court case, some brothers say it was staged. Some brothers say it was not. Some brothers say they're all Masons. I believe some of them are Masons. Usually judges are Masons. I believe that. It was all staged, whatever have you. But the point is that, again, this goes back to something that we've been talking about. It's called popular persuasion. While we've been on social media, ranting and raving, if you brothers and sisters have been paying attention, did y'all see what that I don't want to say a word that's going to get this video flagged. Did you see what Whoopi Goldberg said? You see what mainstream media says? They pull out all the coons. She was praising and lauding the fact that the family said that they forgive. That's what they're doing on social. They're making it into a great thing. Why? Because they want all Black people to be like that. Then you had that other heifer on that talk show called The Talk, right? Up there with Eve, who's a whore, okay? And Sharon Osbourne, who's a damn witch and a whore, okay? They were all up there applauding the family as well. So they're pushing through the media that was the right thing to do. That was a beautiful thing. That was a noble thing to do, because they want more you Negroes to do that, to follow that old docile, watered down version of Christianity, while the white man in America doesn't follow that. And these paid puppets and shills amongst our people that they give us as leaders that are really nothing but a bunch of sellouts are being used to push that narrative on you. It's called popular persuasion. That's why we have to be in charge of our own media and our own narrative. That's why it all comes back to what I've been saying. When I told you, brothers and sisters, about supporting the Hebrews to Negroes film that Ron Dalton did, when I told you, brothers and sisters, about supporting the movie that Elder Zahab and my camp did, Set Apart, when I told you, brothers and sisters, about the movie he's doing called Karagma, so forth and so on, we have to take control of our narrative. Because if we don't, and we allow the media to do it, we're always going to be painted as the bad guys. Always. Hope everybody understands that, right? Hold on a second. You take a sip of this MSM powder. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sincere Israel, you on point. All praises. Right. Drop a like, family. It's free. It ain't going to hurt you to hit the like button. It's not going to hurt you, brothers and sisters, to hit the like button. All right. More people will, as they come in, they'll, onto YouTube, they'll see that we're live. And they'll come in and they'll join into the conversation. All right. Also, feel free to share this video wherever you are, whatever social media platforms you're on. And of course, like always, if you want to, you can also drop in the chat, where you're checking in from. I like to see stuff like that to know, how far reaching this word is, how far reaching this channel is. So you can also drop in the chat where you're checking in from. All right. So now we've come to the portion of the video, because I'm not going to be before you brothers and sisters very long. So we've come to the portion of the video where, as always, I ask you brothers and sisters, take notes, right? I'm not going into anything real deep today because I don't have a lot of time, but I ask you brothers and sisters to take notes. If you have a pen and paper nearby, go get it, write some of these books down. And if you can get them, get them. If you can get the PDF online for free, do that. These books have helped me along my journey understand the Bible a lot better. Not just the Bible, but the history behind the Bible and the I made a video earlier last week called the translation, transmission, and canonization of the Bible. Those are three very important topics that you do not see Israelites talking about. You rarely see Israelites talking about the Bible translation. I think I'm one of the very few. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm one of the very few people that's actually showing y'all about the translation and explaining to you the technicalities behind the translation of the Bible into English, Spanish, and German, what you call the languages that come from Latin. What took place, what happened, who was involved, et cetera, et cetera. It's not too many people going into that, and it's very important because it can be weaponized against you at a later date if you don't have some understanding on it. Then you have to understand about the transmission of the text, like how was it disseminated, right? And then you have to understand about the canonization of the Bible, because most arguments that people make against us as Israelites, they make arguments about the canonization of the Bible that we use, which in essence comes down from the Catholic Church, the canon that we're using today, right? But there are many other canons. And so understanding what canonization of the Bible is and the different canons that exist will help you, because now in these last days, to further try to confuse the people, you're noticing a lot of so-called lost books of the Bible are coming out of nowhere. You're seeing them all the time. You have the pseudepigrapha, which consists of the Book of Mary, the Book of Infancy, the Book of this, the Book of that. You have Enoch, you have Jasher, you have the Gospel of Barnabas, you have the New Testament Apocrypha, you have all these different books that are popping up out of the woodworks, and some brothers are getting swayed by some of the things in these books, because brothers are not really understanding what canon is, what canonization is. How do you test if something, what's the measuring test of if something should be a part of the Bible or not? Brothers are not applying these measuring sticks, but I can't blame you because nobody taught you these things, right? And I always, as I mentioned in my last video, and I'll say it here right now again in case you didn't see the last video, when you understand what the canons are, right? The canons do differ. Some canons have more books than others. Like, for instance, the Bible we have today, the KJV, let's talk about that, right? That contains 66 books, right? But many of us also use the Apocrypha. So we've added, more books to that as well, because the Catholic Church also uses the Apocrypha. Then you have something called the Ethiopian canon, where they have even more books than what we have in the KJV. And then you have other canons all over the place, right? So one of the measuring sticks that I mentioned in the last video that brothers and sisters can apply when it comes to topics like this is that when you take a book like Jasher, for instance, because that's something that a lot of Israelites, you like to use the book of Jasher. A lot of y'all like to use that, right? I explained to a brother, he and I were having a little bit of a dialogue online, and I explained to the brother that the book of Jasher is not found in the Catholic canon, nor can it be found in the Ethiopian canon or pretty much any other canon. You just can't find it. So that's a red flag that lets you know that book is probably a forgery. I'm talking about the Jasher that brothers are using today. You can only trace it back to the 16, maybe 1700s at its earliest. I'm talking about the book of Jasher that some brothers are using today. In addition, there are things within this book of Jasher that contradict the 66 books that we have now. So those are all signs and red flags to let you know that those books are not inspired by God. Furthermore, as one of my elders taught me many, many years ago, Elder Mashallah, may he rest in peace, you have no business reading all these so-called lost books of the Bible if you can't even break down the 66 books you already have. And I don't know anybody that can give you a breakdown from everything in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation without flaw. I don't know anybody. So what's the point of adding on all these other books? Okay, the Apocrypha, yes. But outside of that, what's the point? And if these books contradict the Bible that we have, leave it alone. It's just that simple. And the reason why I was having that conversation with the brother was because one brother went into the book of Jasher to show and prove that there's nothing wrong with sleeping with a 10-year-old. You brothers and sisters heard what I said? The brother went into the book of Jasher and pulled out a verse that says that our father Isaac married Rebekah when she was 10 years old. So there's nothing wrong with a grown 40-year-old man sleeping with a 10-year-old. See, when you have stuff like that in the midst, you got to exercise that nonsense. And that's what happens when brothers try to go outside of established books and canon, trying to be deeper than the next. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So again, as I was saying before, understanding translation, transmission, and canonization are very important subject matters that I'm going to be going into intermittently as we go forward. Not so much on Maccabees TV, because I really leave this as just like a universal channel for Israel, but more so on my channel. And if y'all are not subscribed to my channel, I don't know what to tell y'all. I tell y'all what my YouTube channel is all the time. If you don't go there, you're going to miss a lot of those lessons that I'm going to go into. That's on you. Once again, my YouTube page is Priest Daniel Allah Uncut. That's my YouTube page. So you'll find me over there going forward doing lessons on the things that I just said. I may drop some of them on here every now and then, but y'all going to have to go over there for that. All right, I don't really use this channel to really do a lot of like lessons and stuff like that. It's more or less I leave this channel to be able to interview all Israel. This is like our side of the TV, for lack of a better word. I bring everybody here, even people I don't agree with sometimes I bring over here. You know what I'm saying? So that we have a alternative so that we don't have to go over there since they're banging on us the way they're banging on us and our creator. All right. With that being said, let me show you, brothers and sisters, just a few selections real quick that I think are important. Feel me one second. All right. One of the first books I'm going to recommend to you, brothers and sisters, and some of this information, you don't have to necessarily buy these books to get. You just have to know what to research. But I'm going to show you the books I have. I remember somebody in the conscious community said that we don't read books. I got more books than they got. I'm talking about physical books. I ain't talking about ebooks. I have a lot of ebooks too. I got more physical books than they have. And they telling me they said that we don't read. That was the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. All right. This is a book called The History of the First Council of Nicaea, a World's Christian Convention, AD 325. I'm going to put it a little closer so y'all can see it. Y'all see that? Hopefully y'all can see that, right? And the author is Dean Dudley, right? Y'all can see that? Okay. This is a very, very important area of study that a lot of Israelites are not dealing with. Let me explain to you why it's important to know about the Council of Nicaea. There were a lot of different councils that are very important to us having the Bible today. The Council of Jamnia is another one, but that's not the subject matter. The Council of Nicaea is like the John 3:16 of councils. Like every Christian could quote you John 3:16, right? And every Bible-hating so-called conscious Negro can quote you the Council of Nicaea or the Nicene Council, however you want to pronounce it. But most people don't know what took place at the Nicene Council. You'll find what people are telling you that the story of Jesus Christ was created at the Council of Nicene Council and the Council of Nicaea, whatever you want to say. That is a lie. That is a whole lie. And so books like this go into it. And it's an easy read. The book is less than 105 pages. Very easy read. And that's something that you Israelites, you need to know about the Nicene Council. What took place at the Nicene Council? What was the arguments? Who attended? Where the people attended, where were they from? Those are all very important things. I'm going to say those again. Who attended the Nicene Council? Where were they attending from? And what were the contentions? Those three things you need to know. Why? Because then once you know these things, when somebody comes in front of your camp or somebody comes on a comment board of your video or on your social media telling you the concept of Jesus Christ was created at the Council of Nicaea, you can cut them to shreds because that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. One of the major contentions at the Nicene Council was the nature of Christ. Was Christ fully divine, or was he partly divine and part man, etc.? Those are some of the things that were taking place. And a lot of the people that attended the Nicene Council were from North Africa, where Israel was scattered. And these were Israelites, many of them that were going by the religion of Christianity at that time, as many of our people were. Okay? So these are things that are very, very important that you brothers and sisters need to know about. The Nicene Council is extremely important. And please do me a favor. I can't stress this enough. Wikipedia, I know I'm hurting a lot of feelings when I keep saying it, but I don't care because I've debunked Wikipedia articles myself. Wikipedia is only a tool. Please don't use it as your ultimate source to prove things, because anyone can write a Wikipedia article. And when you write a Wikipedia article, the article is only as good as the sources that the person that wrote it used. So if there are other sources that debunk, let's say I write a Wikipedia article, right? And I want to push a certain narrative, right? I'm only going to use the sources I use to be able to push my narrative. There might be 10 sources that go contrary to my article. I'm not including them. And I'm going to take for granted that you don't know what those sources are, so you're not going to be aware of them. Be very careful. When you're doing research and you use Wikipedia, it gives you little hyperlinks sometimes right next to certain words. It'll be highlighted in blue. It'll give you a number you can click where it'll take you to the source. Check the sources on Wikipedia articles. But do your research. Go to use the Encyclopedia Britannica online. It's another good source, etc., and read about the Council of Nicaea and study and research where the people attended from, etc., etc. That is one of the tools that they try to use against us as Israelites. So you have to know what took place at the Nicene Council. It will debunk a lot of the trash that the conscious community tries to use against the Israelites. Okay. Let's move forward with the next thing, right? Sorry, I'm just checking. My phone keeps flashing. I'm trying to make sure. I get a little text sometimes from people when the live stream is not going well, something's going wrong, so I got to check it from time to time. All right, where do I want to go next? Let's go here. I don't know if you brothers and sisters can see it. I'm going to bring it a little closer, right? I'm going to read you the title first. The title of the book is called The Causes of Corruption of the New Testament. Before I even show you this book, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to look for some audience participation just for a second, right? Brothers and sisters, can anybody tell me what textual criticism is? Put it in the chat. What is textual criticism? Does anybody know? I'd like to know if anybody knows. I'm going to check on my phone because the chat on my phone Does anybody know what textual criticism is? And why is it important? Why am I talking about it? I want to know if anybody can tell me what that is. The water seed of Jacob. That's right. Hit the like button, y'all. Hit the like button. Does anybody can tell me what textual criticism is? I'm not going to wait long. Okay, shout out to Officer Zachariah from my camp, Lines of Israel. He said the process of attempting to ascertain the original wording of text. That's definitely true. Bakar Zarai said criticizing the text to a degree. That's true too. William Newman said not agreeing with the text. Warrior Lord, that's correct. Well, you all were correct to a degree, but Warrior Lord like really encapsulated what it is. Textual criticism is a branch of textual scholarship, philology, and of literary criticism that is concerned with the identification of textual variants or different versions of either manuscripts. Right. So, in other words, so you brothers and sisters can understand, right? When you're dealing with the New Testament, and I said this before in the previous video, I'm going to go through this real quick. I'm going to kind of speed up a little bit because that kind of slowed me down. When you read the New Testament, right, what brothers and sisters have to understand is there's something called the UBS Vatican Agreement, UBS, which is the United Bible Society Vatican Agreement, right? At one time, the Vatican used to kill people for being involved in translating the Bible. You brothers and sisters know the history. I don't have to get into it with you brothers and sisters. King James himself had 8 attempts on his life, attributed to the Jesuits, which are a branch and arm of the Roman Catholic Church. So the Catholic Church was known to kill people. At some point, they woke up and had an epiphany, I guess, and decided, hey, you know what? We don't mind people having Bibles. So they made an agreement with what's known as the UBS, the United Bible Society. You brothers can do your own research. I'm not pulling it up. You can Google it as I'm talking. The UBS Vatican Agreement, they made an agreement and said that they were going to put out Bibles together. That became something known in history. You can write this phrase down. It was known as the translation explosion. At one point, prior to the UBS Vatican agreements, there were several translations, but not as many as you see today. So the reason why you see so many translations today is not because, you know, the word of God is not easy to understand and everybody has their own version. No, that was strategic. That was a military move on behalf of the Roman Catholic Church. And what they did was they got together and put out all these translations to do what? Confuse people. But there is one thing that you definitely can know for a fact. And I'm going to share my screen in a second. There's some things I want to show you, brothers and sisters, real quick. And now I'm deviating, but the Spirit is moving me to show y'all something. What I want you, brothers and sisters, to understand is that the KJV, the underlying manuscripts of the KJV is from something known as the Textus Receptus, or the received text. The rest of the translations, for the most part, come from an underlying text known as the Alexandrian manuscripts, which consist of Codex Vaticanus, Codex Sinaiticus, etc., etc. It's all New Testament manuscripts, but it's 2 classifications. One classification is known as the Textus Receptus. One classification is known as the Alexandrian manuscripts, right? You have to notice, if you're reading from an English Bible and you don't notice, shame on you. This is what I be saying when I be telling Israelites, especially you English-only Israelites, when I be telling y'all, you really need to know this, you really need to know this. The name of the book is called Causes of Corruption of the New Testament, right? Why is this important? These are things that when you notice, the conscious community can't tell you nothing. They can't tell me nothing. So what textual criticism is, going back to my question, is that we look at the Alexandrian manuscripts and the Bibles that use those scripts for their New Testament, and we look at the KJV and the Bibles that come from there. They use the Textus Receptus as their New Testament, right? And you compare and contrast the manuscripts to see which one is more accurate. That's textual criticism. Going back to what I said to you, brothers and sisters, and I've been saying, when you hear people saying that we use the KJV, whatever, in English, which we're not saying the KJV in English is perfect, because it's far from that. It's far from that. But when we tell people that we use it, don't make it a mantra like you just repeating what you've been hearing. No, there are reasons why we prefer it. There are reasons. One of the reasons is because the underlying manuscripts that it uses, which is the Textus Receptus, is more accurate and better than the Alexandrian manuscripts. These are facts. How do I know? Because I did the research. Well, they did the research and I read it, which led me to other research. So the name of the book is called Causes of Corruption of the New Testament. And it is a study to a small degree of textual criticism. Why do some people prefer the KJV? And why do some people prefer the other translations of the Bible? Why? Why? It's because of the underlying manuscripts. Am I losing anybody? I'll get into the Sefer Bible another time. I see the question, but I kind of want to stay on subject right now. Is everybody good? If y'all good, hit one in the chat. I don't want to go too deep and then lose people. But I really feel like a lot of people don't talk about these things. It's my responsibility while everybody's banging and arguing about bull BS. It's my responsibility to tell y'all some of the areas of study that Israel is not talking about, to help you go forward in your studies. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. I want to I'm going to share my screen in 1 second. I'm looking something up. I want to show you, brothers and sisters, something. Right. Excellent. All praises to the Most High. Still, I hate Google because it remembers too much stuff. But in this case, I couldn't remember what I translated. Excellent. 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 Okay. All praises. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, something that you brothers and sisters probably have never seen or heard. And that's a shame because it was in one of my PowerPoints. But I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, something you probably are not familiar with. And this may be your first time seeing it. If it's your first time seeing it, I'm imploring you and I'm asking you, write it down and go back and look at it. You're going to need it one day. I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see what's on my screen right there? Hopefully you brothers and sisters can. I'm going to explain to you what it is in a moment. I'm just going to check my cell phone to make sure that I am sharing so I can see what you're seeing. Okay, let's see what we got here. Excellent. All praises to the Most High. Excellent. Brothers and sisters, this is what is called a Bible translation continuum, right? I'm going to say it again. This was in a PowerPoint I did like 3-4 years ago. It's called a Bible translation continuum. Okay, does everybody see that? Okay. Why is the Bible translation continuum important? Now I am totally deviating. I'm going to come back in 1 second. Bear me 1 second, right? Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you why it's important. Now we're going to go into a lot of things. I might skip some of these other books I have here because now the Spirit has moved me in a totally different direction. So I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, something. Okay. Yep. This is what I want to see. That's what I want to see right here. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. All right. Good. Here we go. Okay. All right. I'm going to share my screen again. Watch this. All right. Let's come here first. All right. Got so many tabs open now. I'm confused myself. There we go. Let me share my screen. All right. Brothers and sisters, what I'm about to show you is important. Some of y'all don't know this. Let me not share just yet. Let me just say this, right? One of the problems that I have with us as Israelites is that I see a lot of arguments banging back and forth on YouTube about doctrines and stuff like that. If you don't understand Listen carefully to what I'm saying. If you don't understand the process that went into translating the Bible into English, you're going to be lost. And most likely, you're going to have some doctrines with you too. I'm going to say it again. If you don't understand the process that went into translating the Bible, there's things that you're going to be lost on, and chances are you're going to have some doctrines too. Now, somebody asked for me to put the name of the book in the chat. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, something. So the name of the book is called The Causes of Corruption of the New Testament Text. Right? You brothers can look it up yourself. Now, it's not saying the New Testament text is corrupt, but there's multiple manuscripts depending on the using. So there's a study called Textual Criticism where you compare the manuscripts to see which ones are more accurate, which I'm not going to do today. Forget about that. But I am going to show you, brothers and sisters, something that a lot of you are not aware of. So pay attention now. And if you don't know this stuff, like I said, write it down, open up a little notepad on your phone and write this information down and go do some research on it. Watch this. So this is called a translation continuum, right? Now you'll notice on the left-hand side of your screen, you have something called word-for-word translations. Then you have on the right-hand side of your screen something called thought-for-thought translations of the Bible. Some of y'all never heard that before, right? The Bibles on the left-hand side are more what you call word-for-word translations. As you go further and further to the right of the Bible of this chart, the Bibles that you see on the right-hand side of the chart are less word-for-word translations and more thought-for-thought. What do I mean? Meaning that the authors started putting their opinions into the translation. I'm going to show you that right now. Give you a perfect example. Now, I'm not here to argue with none of you brothers and sisters that believe in the virgin birth, don't believe in the virgin birth. I'm not here to argue with you about that. I'm just here to show you something, right? One of the verses that brothers and sisters like to use to try to push this whole virgin birth thing is Luke 3, verse 23. So let's read it. Luke chapter 3, verse 23. I'm going to read it from the KJV right down here, right here. This is it right here. And this is what it says. It says that Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being as was supposed the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli. I'm just going to tell you, brothers and sisters, something for now, and I'll go into it another time. Y'all see how the words as was supposed is in parentheses or brackets? All of these are all the different translations of the Bible. Do you notice that some translations of the Bible do not have it in brackets? Like, for instance, when you come to the NIV, right up here at the top, it says he was thought, salt was thought. Do y'all see that right there? Salt was thought, but it's not in brackets. When you come to the Living Translation right here, it says he was known as, no brackets. Y'all see that? But when you come to the ESV, the English Standard Version, you got the brackets again. Y'all see that? So the ESV, the English Standard Version Bible, has the brackets, as was supposed. The KJV has the brackets, as was supposed. But the NIV does not. The New Living Translation does not. The Berean Bible does not. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Let's come back to this. Word for word. The ESV, it had the brackets. The KJV, it has the brackets. The NIV did not. What does all this mean, brothers and sisters? Let me explain it to you. When the translators were translating the Bible and they inserted their thoughts, their own thoughts into the Bible, the earlier Bibles, the earlier English translations, when it was the translators putting their thoughts in there, they put words either in brackets or italics. I'm going to say it again. They put those words in brackets or italics to let you know those words do not appear in the original manuscript, so that you as the reader know that is not a part of the original manuscripts. And so you are actually getting a word for word translation, and anything that was added is in brackets. Y'all see that? That's why these Bibles over here are known as word for word, because the way that this is supposed to be read in the KJV, it's supposed to be read the way it reads in the original text. It's supposed to be read, and Jesus himself, being about 30 years of age, being the son of Joseph, was the son of Heli. That as was supposed is not really there in the original text. It's not. And so the translators knew enough, and they had enough integrity to let you know they put that as was supposed in there, so they put it in brackets. Sometimes you won't see brackets. Sometimes you'll see italics. And you have brothers that will use this verse and be like, brother, it says as was supposed. It says as was supposed, because you don't study. You don't study. That's the point. So that's why I'm saying, when you have the Bible, if you don't even know how you got it, if you don't understand the process that went into the translation, you already lost. You're already lost. And I'm not saying this to have an argument with brothers now about the virgin birth. I'm just showing you, brothers and sisters, something. I'm showing you how important it is to really get into the study of understanding the translation of the Bible. It is critical. It's critical. Did I lose anybody? Man, did I lose anybody? Hold on a second while I'm looking for something else. I'm not looking at the screen for a moment, y'all. I don't see if y'all making comments. I'll be back in one moment. Just looking something up here. Here we go. Because I know somebody somewhere is probably just a little bit lost. So I want to show you, brothers and sisters, something. Let's see. Here we go. Let me come back now. Let me check y'all out. Y'all all right? Come and check my comments. Mika's all right, man. I see Muck the General. I know he made her a moderator over there, and I know she'd be back and forth. That's on her. That's on her. I like Mika, actually. That's on her. She wants to be back and forth. The scriptures say, be no more children tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine. The stuff that I'm going into, she know it. The dudes over there be taking my shit and then trying to turn it around and use it against me, but you didn't know about it till I said it. So I don't even rate them as the West Indians say. I don't even rate them. I don't. So I don't care. You can go back and forth and do whatever you listen, man. I don't rate them. I know what I'm talking about. So I'm not even mad, y'all. It's all good. She good. She's good. Don't worry about that, y'all. All right. All right. So now I'm gonna share my screen again. I'm gonna show you, brothers and sisters, this. Hopefully y'all learning something. All right, let me share my screen one more time. Let me show y'all, brothers and sisters, this, right? And there's a lot of articles and y'all brothers and sisters could go to. This is from BYU University, Brigham Young University. And there's other, I'll take y'all to another source as well. But this is I like this one right here. So we're gonna read just a little bit of this right here. This is from BYUuniversity.edu. The name of the article is called Chapters, Verses, Punctuation, Spelling, Italics in the King James Version Bible. Okay. I'm going to read this article. This is a paragraph right here. It says, under punctuation, it says the 1611 King James Bible was published by the firm of Robert Barker of London. Barker's family had been in the printing business for decades, and he had the distinction of being printed to the king's most excellent majesty. Is this what I want to make sure? Yeah, it is. Sorry. So starting right here, and is noted on the Bible's title page with the designation his company held the New Bible franchise, sometimes with partners, into the 1630s. With the concessions went when the concessions went to other printers, most often university presses. Right. The origin of the punctuation of in the 1611 KJV is not well understood in large part. Here's what I said down, because I don't want y'all to think I made it up. It was determined, excuse me, hold on, I'm trying to, right here, I want to highlight it so y'all can see it. It was determined, it's not gonna let me highlight it. Okay, no problem, no problem. You don't want me highlighting your stuff. It was determined by the translators based on the Hebrew and Greek text, earlier English versions, and the current usage of the time, but likely also contains influences from editors in Barker's shop. The punctuation in the 1611 edition was not done very consistently. Readers today are often surprised to learn that the punctuation in our current KJV differs in thousands of places from the 1611. Right, but that's not the portion I want. Let me look for. Let's see. Here, is this it? Okay, hold on a second, y'all. It's not the portion I want. Okay, it's not what I want. Nope, that's not the part I want either. It'll come in 1 second. Here we go. Found it. Took me a minute. Okay, here we go. It's actually under the portion that says italics. I apologize. Here we go. So here it is. Italics. The use of italics in today's King James Bible has an interesting but complex history. The practice of using different type within a text for various reasons seems to have begun in the early part of the 16th century. That's what I was telling y'all. When you see the wording or the lettering in the Bible switch to italics, different style lettering from everything else, there's a history behind that. That was done for a reason. Okay? During the years 1534 to 1535, Sebastian Munster and Peter Robert Olivetin, who printed Latin and French translations of the Bible respectively, were two of the earliest individuals to indicate by means of different type the words in the translation not represented precisely in the exemplar. The first English Bible to follow this practice was the Great Bible, which was printed in 1539 under the editorship of Miles Coverdale, who made use of both Munster's Latin and Olivetin's French translations. In the English translations, which were printed in black letter type, Coverdale employed both brackets and small font to indicate variant readings from the Latin Vulgate that were not in the Hebrew or Greek manuscripts. So when you see, coming back here, when you see Bibles that put things in parentheses like this, that is a variation, meaning that was put in there, but that's not in the Greek manuscripts. So certain translations of the Bible, when they did that, they let you know that they did that so you understand what was in the Greek and what was not. So when we tell you we use translations like the KJV, when we tell you that we use translations like the ESV, the reason why we do that is because these Bibles are more of a word-for-word translation. And when they added something in, they put it in parentheses to let you know. Whereas Bibles like the NIV, they're more moving towards the thought for thought. So they don't let you know that they added stuff in. That is the reason why we say we use the KJV. That's why. That's why. Amongst many other reasons, but that's why. Does everybody understand? I want to make sure that y'all with me, because I know some of this is new. Some of y'all have never heard this stuff before. Everybody good? If you good, put 1 in the chat. If you're good, put 1 in the chat. Just want to make sure now. I don't want to go too deep and too far, because some of the stuff I know is new. And unfortunately, like I said, a lot of Israelites don't go into it, A, because they don't know it themselves. And that's not a knock. I had to buy these books and humble myself and sit down and read them. So it's not a knock, but a lot of Israelites don't know this stuff, and they cannot help you. Stop running around saying you use the KJV because it's the best translation, and you can't explain why, brothers and sisters. Stop doing that. I'm showing you why. I'm showing you why we do it. We're not saying it's a perfect translation, but what we are saying is that the writers in the translators had integrity to let you know what they were doing. But of course, if you don't know what they were doing, then you won't recognize it. When they put words in italics or brackets, they're letting you know what they did. You just learned something that you never heard probably before. And there was an incident on Facebook, and I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, something else in a minute. There was an incident on Facebook, right, where there was a big 500 comment argument about a doctrine. I forget what the doctrine was. Oh, man. And the argument, I kind of watched the argument the whole time on Facebook. I didn't really get involved in it, but I kind of just watched the argument progress on Facebook. And I used it as a teaching moment for my camp, right? And I told my brothers in my camp, I said, I brought the doctrine to them and I asked them about it. And at the time, this is a couple of years ago, nobody picked up on the fact that what was being argued about back and forth on Facebook, what was being argued about was words in the English Bible that were in italics, which means they're not even in the original Hebrew or Greek to begin with. So it was a moot point. It was a moot point. And brothers and sisters spent the whole day arguing with each other. You know why? They don't understand about the translation. They don't understand about the translation. That's the problem. That's the problem. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show y'all, brothers and sisters, something else. This is going to be the last thing I'm going to show y'all, and then I'm going to get out of here. Here we go. Boom. Nope. Show y'all something. Right. Everybody that's watching this, if you read the Apocrypha, you're familiar with the prologue to the book of Sirach, right? Everybody's familiar with that. We're going to bring that to life now. Watch how we bring it to life. I'm going to bring that thing to life, and I'm going to give you a real world, real-time example of the prologue to Sirach and why it's there. Okay, here we go. Just making sure everybody's good. Okay, here we go, right? I want you brothers and sisters to, I'm going to read the prologue to Sirach, and I'm going to show you brothers and sisters something. And I'm going to make it all, I'm going to tie it all together in a nice, neat bow and make it make sense for you. And you'll understand it better. Watch this. So it says the prologue of the wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach, whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps. For the which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom, and whereof not only the readers must needs become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and writing. My grandfather Jesus, that's not talking about Jesus of the New Testament. That's a common name in Israel. All right. Joshua, etc. is a common name. When he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment, was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those things which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. Now, this is the part that I want to draw your attention to. We've all read it, but I'm going to give you a real life example momentarily. This is the part we want to focus on right here. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short on some words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. Now, we have all seen that. So now we understand and know that the Bible was translated mainly from Hebrew, Aramaic, Latin, and Greek into English. 4 languages, 4 primary languages: Hebrew, Aramaic, Latin, and Greek into English, right? We all know this, right? Now, watch this. I'm going to show you, brothers and sisters, something, a basic example of what this is talking about, where he said that wherein, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and pardon us wherein, hold on, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short in some words. What does that mean? What does that mean? Why is that there? Let me show you something, right? Basic example. This is the SpanishDictionary.com. You brothers and sisters see what I put in the search, right? I said, I want to know how to say I am hungry in Spanish. How do you say that, right? And so the research result I got, it says, tengo hambre. That's how you say I am hungry in Spanish. That's how you say I am hungry in Spanish. You say tengo hambre. But there's a problem. There's a problem. Remember what you just read. Remember what you just read. It said, pardon us, because when you go from one language to another, some words fall short. Watch this. So in Spanish, if you want to say I'm hungry, you say tengo hambre. Let's go to the next tab. The word tengo in Spanish means have. It means I have. I have. That's what the word means. Coming back here, if you were to literally translate this into English, it says, I have hungry. That's what you're saying in Spanish. I have hungry. Because the word tengo in Spanish means I have. That's what it means. But does that make sense in English? Do we run around here saying I have hungry? What do we say in English? We say I am hungry. So what do you have to do? You translating it from Spanish to English, you got to switch a word around. You got to take the word tengo out and put the word am in for it to make sense in English. Does everybody understand that? That's what you have to do. That's why Sirach wrote what he wrote. When you are going from 4 ancient languages, Hebrew, Latin, Aramaic, and Greek into English, when you're translating, sometimes phrases cannot be literally translated into English and make sense. So sometimes you have to add words in for it to make sense in English. And so what the translators did was, when they did that, they put those thoughts in parentheses to let you know that it doesn't say that in the Greek, but for it to make sense, they put it in parentheses or they put it in italics. Everybody good? Everybody understand? If y'all got what I'm saying, if you understand what I'm saying, put 1 in the chat. Let me know. Let me know if you got what I'm saying. I know this is new for a lot of y'all. It's new stuff. Oh, you know what? I'm not sharing my screen. Am I sharing my screen? I don't even know. I got so many tabs open. Am I sharing my screen? Hey, y'all, was I sharing my screen? Y'all got mad tabs open. It's crazy. Was I sharing my screen? Y'all, let me know. Or else I got to do that again. Okay, cool. I was about to have a heart attack. Like, man, I got to get out of here. Okay. So y'all good, Israel? Y'all see? Y'all learning new stuff about this English, and we all learn together, brothers and sisters. Trust me, I've been in this truth 27 years. I didn't know this for 27 years. I came across this information, I'm going to say honestly, like really digging into the translation and doing what we talked about earlier called textual criticism. I came into this, man, maybe about, I'll say about 5 or 6 years ago. Prior to that, I didn't really know about the translation either. I really didn't. But I got tired of being bombarded and hounded with questions, and the conscious community always talking SHIT. And I said, no, I'm going to learn this. Because I know what they're saying is BS. I'm going to learn it. All right? So now you brothers and sisters are learning new things that you've never heard before. So when you see italics in your Bible, when you see parentheses in your Bible, now you know that either the translators were inserting their own thoughts, or in order for it to make sense going from Hebrew, Aramaic, Latin, or Greek into English, sometimes they had to They had to, you know, kind of change it around a little bit for the phrase to complete what they say, to complete the thought in English. Like, for instance, right? You ever heard somebody like tell a joke like in Spanish? They over there, like, you know, they be talking in Spanish, they over there, ha, 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 and you don't know what's going on. And you be like, yo, what y'all said? And then they tell it to you in English, and you looking at them like, okay, well, that wasn't that funny. Y'all was over there, you know, laughing and about to pass out. You was laughing, and you looking at it, okay, that wasn't really that funny. It wasn't that it wasn't that funny. For them to tell it to you in English, it's going to lose some of its zest. Y'all get it? Same, somebody in Haitian Creole, speaking in Haitian Creole, they telling a joke, they talking whatever, like they break it down to you. It's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna be the same. It is the same. They are breaking it down and telling you what was said. But in order for it to complete the thought in English, sometimes you got to switch things around a little bit. So the English translations of the Bible are sufficient to wake us up. They are indeed the inspired word of God, and the Most High inspired for them to come into our hands so we could wake up to our nationality. But going into the Hebrew and the Greek and the Latin, et cetera, is also necessary. It's also an important study, all right? Knowing the different manuscripts that were used to translate the different versions of the Bible is important. And who was involved? I mean, it's so much, brothers and sisters. Like I could sit here with y'all for hours. Another book I have, this is for brothers and sisters interested in the Spanish Bible, right? The name of the book is called God's Word in Spanish. God's Word in Spanish. And it's the how God preserved his word in Spanish through the RVG, the Reina Valera. That's the Spanish, considered to be the Spanish KJV. It's called La Reina Valera Bible. That's the Spanish version of the KJV. And I've said it before, but some of y'all may be new to me saying it, so I'm going to say it again. You know what's interesting about the Spanish Bible? You know what's interesting about the guy that was moved to translate the Bible into Spanish? His name was Casiodoro de Reina. You know what's interesting about him? Guess what? Let me see if somebody been watching me. What does Casiodoro de Reina have in common with Erasmus and King James? What does he have in common with them? Can anybody tell me? Let me see who's been watching. Yo, Officer Zachariah, don't say nothing. I don't want to see you in the chat, Officer Zachariah. Don't say nothing. Nobody in Lines of Israel say nothing. I know y'all know because I beat y'all on the head with this. Anybody know? Ah, Holy Saints and Apostles. My brother, Mashallah, Maccabees Alliance. That's right. That's right. Common thread. All the dudes that were involved in translating the Bible, all of them have been accused at one point or another of being a homosexual. All of them. By the Roman Catholic Church. And we're going to sit around and act like that's not a coincidence. Hey, brothers, do me a favor, right? I know, hey, brothers and sisters, I know I could be wrong. I believe Sister Mika's a good sister, honestly, right? She do be bouncing around a little too much, even for me. I always joke with her. I think she bounces around too much, and I see her over there amongst the enemies and haters of God. I see her over there, and I don't like it. But at the end of the day, she still comes over here and she still can learn. And the Most High may move her one day, man, to separate herself from that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So let's just try to, I'm not saying y'all can't interact with her, but just you know, let her learn, man. Let her learn. That's all I'm saying. Let her learn. Let her learn. All right. I gotta ask Mika one day, man, if she's married. Not that I'm trying to hit up on her or nothing like that, but you know, she needs to get up, you know, if she can give it a man or whatever like that, man, let her man, if you got a man, let your man teach you, man. Stop. You know, you don't need to be over there and over here, you know. Sis, you got to get it together. But I got love for you though. You know what I'm saying? I know some Israelites, they're a little harder than me, man. I be trying to have mercy on my people. You know what I'm saying? So, you know. Yeah. All right. I'm about to be out of here, y'all. Here's a good book you brothers and sisters could look into. It's called The Evolution Handbook. I like this book. The Evolution Handbook. This is a one-stop shop. See how small it is? It's a one-stop shop, right? That you can just, and some of the information, a lot of the information in that book is outdated. I don't want to lie to you, right? But there's a lot of good stuff in that book. And so the Evolution Handbook, you can use it. Like when you hear these fake woke conscious Negroes pushing evolution, because that's their new thing, man. That's how I know, man. A lot of them, man, A lot of them are just conformists. They want to get along with this system. They don't want the system to fall. You know, when you hear this new thing about evolution, man, this is one of the first books I consult. I got many, many more, but this is one of the first books I consult. And then I go and I check the most recent studies based on that subject and cross-reference it with this book. And you could debunk a lot of stuff, man. You could debunk a lot of stuff. You got Negroes in the conscious community still teaching ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. They still teach that shit. If you don't know what ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny is, look it up, man. You know what I'm saying? This whole garbage about all embryos start off as female, that's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. All embryos do not start off as females. Embryos develop in the womb to either become female or male. Okay? So there's a universal structure, for lack of a better word. I'm gonna say structure, for lack of a better word, when you're in the womb, right? So yes, males might have what you call nipples, whatever like that. I'm not trying to be vulgar, it's the Sabbath. Males might have nipples, but the reason why they never develop is because you are a male in the womb. From conception, that's why it doesn't develop. There's a prototype. That's the word I was looking for. In the womb, when you're created, right, there is a prototype for all mankind in the womb. But you develop in the womb to either be a male or female based on the chromosomes you have. So you do not start off as a female. That is BS. Anyway, that's another little good book, you know, I use. Lastly, this is a long read, so I don't know. This is a long read, but it's good. There's a book called Before the Mayflower, A History of Black America by Lerone Bennett Jr. I like this book. I like it. I like the book. It's a good book, right? The reason why I like the book is because there's a lot of important and potent information in there that we're not delving into. You might hear, and I'm going to really end with this, you might hear, brothers and sisters, this argument about all Black people didn't come from Africa. That's true. You brothers and sisters have to remember, right, that Black people were ruling Spain up until 1492. And in 1492, you had King Boabdil. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Y'all can look it up. You had King Boabdil. He was the leader of the Moors. Yo, YouTube is wilding out, y'all. It keeps going out on me, telling me broadcast ended. I'm glad y'all hanging in there for a second. Now I'm definitely about to be out because I don't know. Let me just check the comments, make sure y'all still there. All right, y'all. I'm gonna pick it up next. All right. Hey, y'all. I'm about to get out of here because this thing is wilding out. Listen, the Moors got kicked out of Spain in 1492. Ferdinand and Isabella, and a lot of them came over here to the Americas. They were kicked out of Portugal as well. and they came over here to the Americas prior to the slave trade. That's why you have a lot of early so-called Black Americans with Spanish names. So look into that. Anyway, this is your brother Priest Daniela, Lions of Israel, Maccabees Alliance Council. I apologize for the technical difficulties towards the end here, but that's just a sign that it's time for me to go. So with that being said, I wish everybody a blessed and safe Sabbath. For those of you that are still here, and I can't even tell how many of y'all still here because, let me see. I can't even tell how many of y'all still here because the thing keep going down. Well, it says it's still about 75 of y'all in the building. That's good. Okay, y'all hanging in there with your brother. All right. So on the way out, brothers and sisters, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Maccabees TV, subscribe to Maccabees TV News, which is the backup channel. And I'll go more into what I was just saying another time. I guess, that was a sign. Also, for the brothers and sisters that hit the donate button, I thank you. I'm using a third party software. I see TA gave $10. Thank you. And somebody else gave 20. I couldn't see who that was. Thank you to you also, whoever gave that $20 donation. I appreciate that. I wasn't able to see, like I said, I'm using a third party software, so it doesn't show you that when people are giving. But thank y'all for y'all donations. Every little bit helps. And yeah, most I we'll be back. We'll be back with another show, maybe even tomorrow. Who knows? All right. All praise to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Priest Daniela, Maccabees Alliance Council, and everybody have a blessed Sabbath. Be safe. If you're getting ready to keep the Day of Atonement, keep it in the right spirit. Love your brothers and love your sisters. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I say shalom to y'all. Put it in the okay, sisters of the Maccabees, if you could put it in the chat. It's Maccabees TV News and Priest Daniel Allah Uncut. I'll put it into the chat. It's Priest Daniel Allah Uncut. There it is. Y'all can go over there and subscribe. And also Maccabees TV News. All right. Yeah. So y'all can go over there and subscribe because I'll be doing more in-depth videos over there about these things. All right. I really want to keep this channel just to mostly interviewing people and just current events, whatever have you. All right. Much love to Israel. Thank y'all for y'all support and all that. And with that being said, I say shalom.
I was set apart, set apart for God use, chosen. I was set apart for God use, born in His image, chosen.
They say the chain of Shaitan is not that strong. They say his time is running out, he ain't got that long. They say murder, murder, kill, this is not that song. Said I won't amount to nothing, they got that wrong. Cause I was set apart and I was shown the light. And if I get the kingdom, I'll be clothed in white. One third will be delivered and the rest were blinded. And fate is set in stone, but you ain't read the fine print. Christ is gonna give a crown to us. In the end, we'll have the nations bowing down to us, with their faces to the ground to us. It's the truth, as crazy as it sounds to us. Jacob forever rules, and we're his precious jewels. Showed us love and patience, put us above the nations. And that's the gospel. Thank God for choosing me. Bad news for you, it's really good news for me.
I was set apart for God use, chosen.
Chosen.
apart, set apart for God, you. Born in His image.
We have a different kind of shine, a different kind of mind. The rhythm's not the same, we're on a different type of time. With a different kind of pace, a different kind of race. The season's not the same, we have a different kind of taste. A different kind of sport, we are so not them. Got my sword and my shield, man, I'm so locked in. And when I came to serve you, how I put my whole heart in. So I can't sit calm, I'm no Martin. And that's the reach, y'all, chosen to teach y'all. Every Sabbath you can find us in the streets, y'all. Dare ya Allah. My nickname is Priest, y'all. In the gym, they say that I'm a beast, y'all. Set apart, the nations all hate me. Set a trap, they lying in wait for me. Chris Paul, they don't want to play with me. But if you love me, I'm asking that you pray with me. Cause
I was set apart for God, you.
chosen.
I was set apart for God, you. Born in His image.
Chosen. And thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people, chosen above all people that's on the face of the earth. That's Deuteronomy 7 and 6. That's you, black and Latin man, chosen. That's you, black and Latin woman. Yeah. And we were chosen.